Good afternoon. My name is Jim McHugh, and I am with AGF Manufacturing. And in this afternoon's webinar, we're going to be talking about the AGF test and drain and related products, which are used as inspectors test connections and express drains on wet fire sprinkler systems. During this presentation, if anyone has a question, please feel free to reach out to us through the GoToWebinar chat feature, or you can call into the webinar if you so choose. Our direct dial number is 610-240-4900. In addition to information found on our website at www.agfmfg.com. In this presentation, on your GoToWebinar link, you will see a drop-down menu for handouts. And this contains a brief product description of our product line. AGF Manufacturing was founded over 30 years ago. I have worked for the company for the last 27 years. I'm a member of a variety of fire sprinkler and plumbing and mechanical associations. I include a slide about an NFPA disclaimer. During this presentation, I will be making a variety of references to current and recent past NFPA 13 and 25 codes. I highly recommend, if you are unfamiliar with these codes, you go to NFPA's website at nfpa.org. Both NFPA 13 and NFPA 25 are extremely valuable documents for the installation, testing, and service maintenance requirements for automatic fire sprinkler systems. As I said, AGF Manufacturing is a family-owned business. It was started by my father back in 1985. We have our domestic U.S. headquarters in Malvern, Pennsylvania. We have production facilities of our products in locations around the United States, as well as we produce products in different countries around the world. Various AGF products are distributed internationally, kind of wherever automatic fire sprinkler systems have been installed over the last 30 years. You can find a variety of AGF products. We very proudly make the majority of our entire product line is made in America. This gives you a brief snapshot of some of the different product lines or trade names that my family manufactures. In this webinar, we're going to be referencing primarily the test and drain ball valve product line, as well as how that relates to the riser pack pre-assembled sectional floor controls. In addition to those two items, we make products for the dry fire sprinkler systems for freeze protection. That would be our collect and drain product line. We also make corrosion monitors in our Core Insight, and we make a complete line of air release vents, which are now required to be installed in a variety of wet pipe systems in many states across the country. Focusing on the basic installation of a wet pipe fire sprinkler system, one of the critical areas is the sectional floor control. This collection of piping that you saw in the original animation consisted of 17 different components. This acted as both the valve on the right as the express drain, so that a specific floor could be drained for service or in the event of fire, the water could be drained down. And in addition to that, it had a secondary bypass function to replicate the flow of water through the top valve past a sight glass and in turn past a test orifice. The test orifice is sized to match the smallest sprinkler head that line specifically can drain. This is a requirement in code. This drawing, found in NFPA 13 versions, has been around for several decades. As you'd expect, it can be difficult to install, either due to space limitations or labor constraints, all 17 of those connections. This is what was the primary motivation in inventing the Model 1000 test and drain that you see in the animation. The products that appear at the bottom of the screen are related to and found in the same locations as the Model 1000. They add other features such as pressure gauges, pressure relief valves, as well as products for single-story installation. We offer a variety of different configurations on these valves. They can be typically draining to the left or to the right, or inline products. We offer them in both thread and groove connections to facilitate installation. In addition to that, we offer them with accessories such as pressure relief valves or remote controls. If we look at what is a universal feature of all of our test and drains, starting on the right hand, starting at the top, you'll see they typically are an angle pattern ball valve. So your inlet is at the top and then your outlet is, as I said, to the left or to the right. All of them have tamper resistant sight glasses downstream of the ball. This is a code requirement so that you can witness flow of water through the integral test orifice when you are in the test position. Our configuration here shows a 3-position ball valve. The valve normally is maintained in its constant state in the off position. And then per NFPA 25 code, it can be rotated to the test position. This test is performed typically quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, depending upon your occupancy of the building. When the valve is rotated to the off position, the flow of water through the valve would be replicating the flow of one sprinkler head. This flow of water should cause the paddle of a flow switch to move, which in turn would send a signal to the alarm panel or to a bell notifying that there is a fire event. Certainly, you would not want to have to actually activate a real sprinkler head. So this was an extremely space-saving, efficient methodology of testing your system through a single valve. In addition to that, the valve can be moved to the drain position, and in the drain position, it acts as an express drain, draining down the system just after its typical installation location, just downstream of a control valve. In the angle pattern design, one of the most unique features of the AGF product line is the 1/2-inch system access port. It was originally designed to be a location for contractors to install a hydrostatic test connection onto the system so that they are able to perform the required hydrostatic test integrity test on a fire sprinkler system. In addition to this being a location for that, it is also a very good location to add a now required pressure relief valve. I'll be going into greater detail on pressure relief valve shortly. As I've talked about, one of the things that is a direct benefit of the AGF Test and Drain product line is the fact that we've reduced 17 different components down to a single valve with just 2 connections. As you'd imagine, this eliminates many leak points and it is an extremely compact, efficient design, so you are not wasting valuable space in the stairwells. For the proper sizing of AGF test and drains, NFPA 13 dictates in a chart that the size of the drains is approximately half the size of supply. The chart on your screen now, which has been in the last 7 to 8 editions of NFPA 13, dictates that up to a 2-inch riser, a 2-inch supply, requires a 3/4 inch or larger test and drain. We have found in the United States, this has typically been consolidated to a 1-inch drain. Very rarely do we see 3/4 inch drain sizes. 2.5, 3, and 3.5 inch riser or supplies typically use an 1.25 inch or larger drain, and then 4-inch and larger risers get a 2-inch drain. In addition to these sizes, we offer the AGF test and drain in the 3/4 inch size, 1 inch, 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. As I've mentioned, NFPA 13 is the governing guideline for how and where to install these products. There is specific wording into how they should function as both a test orifice, replicating the flow of one sprinkler head, as well as acting as an express drain. One of the things that we always caution about is that proper accommodation is made for the water that comes out of the express drain. It is highly recommended that the water discharged from a test and drain be piped to an adequate drain facility. Oftentimes we see in older buildings or buildings found in larger cities that do not have express drains that the valve discharge is piped to a slop sink or floor drain. Caution should be followed when you do this that there is no obstruction in the drain line that would prevent the flow of water getting to the drain. As is many of the components in your fire sprinkler system, the minimum requirement for the functionality and the pressure rating on the valve is 175 psi. The AGF test and drains are actually rated to 600 psi. They are tested to 5 times that working pressure. We have a typical requirement in a ball valve on how fast it can open and close, as well as how fast it can function from its off to its drain position. One of the additional requirements on our valve is the location of the sight glasses, so that they are there to have physical confirmation of the flow of water going through the valve. This is a requirement when the valves are installed in a multi-story environment. In a single-story environment, it is often that the discharge from the drain or the inspector's test valve can be physically witnessed as the water discharges the side of a building. But in the event that the test and drain valve is hard piped to an express drain, you have to have adequate sight glasses to physically witness the flow of water through them. Integral to all of the test and drain product lines are orifice sizes. We offer a broad array of orifice sizes to match all of the different available fire sprinkler head sizes. We are allowed to offer aggregates, so we offer 3/8, 7/16, 1/2 inch, 17/32. We offer ELO and ESFR as well as K25 test orifices. The critical requirement is that you match the size of the test orifice specifically to the smallest orifice that line can drain. The location of a test and drain valve or an inspector's test valve. The primary requirement is that the valve be accessible. It is a general rule of thumb in the fire sprinkler industry that accessible is located no greater than 7.5 feet from ground level. Oftentimes, we have heard of instances where valves, due to site-specific requirements, have to be either located or relocated into other areas. We do offer accommodation when a inspector's test valve may be isolated and or located greater than what is considered an accessible location. The AGF model 1200 remote test adds a remote control feature to the side of an AGF model 1000 to allow for both the manual activation of the product as well as the electric activation. That product line also utilizes integration to existing fire panel architecture or an independent panel control. On the screen now would be a typical riser room found in this case, this was a 13 commercial retail multi-story facility. And as you can see, the test and drains in the upper part of the picture, you have 6 4-inch and 6-inch risers. So you have 2-inch test and drains located on this. As I've made mention, I think it's important that people see the most updated version in NFPA 13 of what is considered a fire sprinkler system. Recent code additions have consolidated the definition so that a specific system is defined as or shall include a water supply source, a water control valve, a water flow alarm, and a drain. So looking at the drawing to the right, each individual floor in that drawing would be considered a standalone fire sprinkler system. As you can also see in the drawing, each floor has a check valve, so pressure is locked in on each of those individual floors. In addition to independent test and drains being installed, there is also the ability to have what are called floor control valve assemblies. These devices incorporate multiple components in the sectional floor control into a pre-assembled unit. I will be touching on these when I bring up discussion of the AGF riser pack product line. We offer a few different configurations of test and drain so that we can give you the best product that you need in the field. First and foremost, every product that AGF makes is compliant with NFPA 13, 13D, and 13R. Most of our products are single handle ball valves. All of them have a compact and very efficient design. Anything that is an inspector's test valve for a multi-story building will include the tamper-resistant test orifices and sight glasses because they are integral to the body of the product. As I mentioned, the minimum requirement for fire sprinkler system is 175, but the AGF test and drains are 300 PSI rated or 600 WOG. In addition to that, the test orifices that are integral to the product, I mentioned which ones are available, and again, those are 3/8, 7/16, half-inch, 17/32, 5/8, 3/4 inch ESFR, and K25. The various products in the AGF test and drain product line also maintain UL listing and FM approval. This is critical for QC requirements as well as for our specifications. We offer far and away the widest variety of products that are both UL and FM approved. UL listed and FM approved. In 2010, there was a code change which required that pressure relief valves be installed on all wet pipe systems. Our Model 1000, an industry standard for many, many years, we have seen change to become the Model 1011. It is the genesis was started as a Model 1000, and then when we add the integral pressure relief valve and the bypass tubing necessary to accept the flow of water through the relief valve, it changes the product to a Model 1011. It is available in all the same sizes, test orifices, and has the same performance requirements as the Model 1000 I spoke about prior. We offer different connection configurations to allow for field accommodation. Our models 2500 and 2511 are a slightly different angle pattern. So instead of the inlet at the top and the outlet to the left, it has more of a 180-degree ability. This means that it can be installed both vertically and horizontal installations. We typically have seen this one installed with the newer code requirement or allowance of installing the inspector's test valve directly onto the supply riser. And again, this product shares all the same configurations as the other ones in the fact that it is 300 PSI rated, comes in the same available test orifices, has the same test plug that can be used for hydrostatic testing, and this has the advantage of being available in both thread by thread or groove by groove design. In the picture now, we show the 2511, and this adds the addition of the relief valve to the Model 2500. They're an extremely simple product to install. The drawings on the screen in front of you will show that it is typically just two connections. The product is directly fed at its inlet point from the system, and then it is connected to an express drain. All valves have both the word inlet and outlet at their connection points, as well as an arrow to prevent any mistakes in installation. One of the most unique features of AGF products that differentiates us from any import or competitive products is the availability of repair components and accessories for our complete product line. At agfmfg.com, we have connections to videos that show how to install all of the various accessories available to our products. One of the most popular videos is the ability that explains the ability to completely repair a valve that has been damaged without actually having to remove it from the system. We give the repair parts for free for our valves forever. So I think it's one of the most unique features as a family business and as a domestic manufacturing business that we can offer to differentiate ourselves from the competition. As I mentioned prior, situations may involve the fact that the inspector's test valve will be located in an inaccessible location. This could be in an industrial area. We also see these in loft conversions where they don't want to have the inspector's test valve down low and they do not want to put in some form of ladder device for access, or they want to put the inspector's test valve behind mechanical equipment to get it out of the way. We do offer a remote control feature, the remote test model 1200. This adds a 24 volt or 110 volt activated solenoid to the side of our valve for electric activation. This is an example of a pre-assembled sectional floor control that I mentioned with a model 1200 and the addition of the now required pressure relief valve. So we are accommodating 5 or 6 different sections of code all pre-assembled into a single product with this configuration. As I mentioned, in 2010, there was a code change that required that all wet fire sprinkler systems installed after January 1st, 2010, required to have their own pressure relief valve. These pressure relief valves are there for the purpose of handling thermal expansion on systems. They have been required on systems that had pressure regulating valves or systems that were of gridded design since 2002. But in 2010, they changed the code requirements so that now every wet fire sprinkler system must have a pressure relief valve. These relief valves are both UL listed and FM approved. Each of the respective labs have requirements on how these valves operate. The rule of thumb is that the valves operate at 90% of their indicated range and reseat at or around 80% of their indicated range. So this would mean for the industry standard pressure of 175, the valve would begin to open at approximately 157.5 psi, so that the valve would be fully open and flowing at 175, preventing the system pressure from going above it. As I mentioned, from 2002 till 2010, the minimum requirement for pressure relief valves was to be downstream of pressure regulating valves in case they were to fail, or on gridded design systems because you are not sure where the air pockets on a gridded system design are to handle thermal expansion. There was a bit of a confusion in the 2002 and 2007 editions between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch relief valves. In 2010, this was corrected to 1/2 inch minimum requirement, 1/2 inch valves operate at 175 or 10 psi above the max system pressure. One of the issues that I'd like to bring to your attention is the use of field adjustable relief valves. Keeping in mind that what our valve looks like, it has a flushing lever on the top of the product. This is up to the upper right of the arrow on the screen. This flushing lever is used in the case that any debris from the system gets lodged or stuck in the relief valve mechanism. The flushing lever can be used to use system line pressure to clean them out. A field adjustable pressure relief valve does not have this feature and is prone to clogging in the relief valve mechanism. A field adjustable relief valve can get a weak leak like you see in the picture because they do not have sealed stems. So in this case, as you can see, the relief valve discharge is plugged, water is dripping through the adjustment lever. In 1992, when AGF introduced relief valves to the fire sprinkler system, we used field adjustable relief valves and discovered that field adjustable relief valves had a very high failure rate. They also could be tampered with. If someone was to see them drip leaking, someone may inadvertently turn the handle on the adjustable relief valve, defeating its purpose and turning it into a plug. For 25 years, Factory Mutual specifically banned the use of field adjustable relief valves on all wet fire sprinkler systems. Recently, we have seen an increase in import field adjustable relief valves being used in the industry. I bring it up as a caution from our prior history of using them that it is not the best move. In the animation at the beginning of this presentation, I talked about the 17 pipe connections, which would be in the lower right corner of the drawing. In addition to that, there are other components on a sectional floor control that need to be used, such as a control valve, a pressure gauge, and a flow switch. Typical installations of floor controls would look like what you see. It's a collection of pipes and components that facilitate supply of water to the fire sprinkler system downstream, as well as being able to drain the water, to tell you what the on-site pressure is on the system side of a control valve, and the ability to have some type of monitoring device to signal flow of water to that specific system. In 2002, we introduced the riser pack product lines that incorporate our test and drain valves. This allowed for the standardization of the floor control assemblies to a uniform environment. We offer approximately 168 variations for 13D, 13R, and 13 commercial. We manufacture these products domestically. All of these items are available in 1 through 6 inch. Every unit is assembled and tested, pressure tested, so that we know every unit going out of us is fully compliant with our QC as well as UL and FM requirements. You can specify different configurations and components on these units. We offer a variety of accessories that can be added to them besides pressure relief valves and the remote control if we were to incorporate a model 1200 as shown later. We, in addition to this, also offer control valves and check valves, plastic adapters for residential installation, even backflow preventers can be pre-installed onto various units. Again, we offer commercial units in both steel and bronze construction. Our bronze design is available thread, groove, and groove connections. And our steel version is available in a groove connection. All units carry a minimum rating of 300 PSI. One of the newest versions of this is in response to issues associated to tight space environments. The drawing in front shows you that the location of this field assembled floor control, the contractor had to remove the flow switch cover for accessibility. They came to us and asked us if we could build a more compact unit that would fit tighter into the corner of the ceiling. In addition to this, due to ADA compliance on the cane sweep issue, we were also asked, could we make a more compact unit? So we created the new commercial corner riser. This unit has its components at 90-degree angles to each other, which still allows for complete and full access to each component, but it can fit in the smallest footprint available. Again, it maintains its 300 PSI rating. It's available in steel, groove by groove connections, and comes in a variety of components. For some of the larger city environments, we also make the model 8511. This version incorporates a pressure regulating valve. It is shipped separately. It is semi-assembled. Due to the weight and size restrictions, we can't fully assemble the unit, but we offer this product in up through 6 inch. And again, it ships semi-assembled with a factory set or field settable pressure regulating valve in both angle or straight pattern, as well as our riser, which incorporates the 1.5 or 2.5 inch pre-assembled hose valve to test the pressure regulating valve, as well as the test and drain flow switch and gauge assembly. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we also offer the Purge and Vent product line. This is new. In 2016, code was passed that requires that all metallic-based wet pipe fire sprinkler systems shall have a single air vent per system. There was concern over discharge of an air vent, so we offer an option that the air vent can be connected to the bypass line of our pressure relief valves. So in this case, we are marrying our riser pack product line on the left with our model 7950 purge and vent product on our right. All AGF products are sold through fire protection specific distribution. A list of our distributors is available at our website, www.agfmfg.com. We offer a variety of training resources. Besides webinars that can be done on specific topics like we are having right now, we offer general product discussion webinars. We offer on-site training at your location through a variety of our both AGF staff members as well as our various sales channel partners. And in addition to that, we have AGFU. This is a 52-person training facility located in Exton, Pennsylvania. It has every product that AGF manufactures. And in addition to this, it also has every product that General Air Products makes for the dry sprinkler industry. There are several other vendors of components from the fire sprinkler industry represented in this training lab. We hold monthly courses. Again, they can be on general fire protection practice, or they can be tailored to specific installation requirements. An example of this would be the one we recently had on cold storage. In that case, we had representatives from 2 or 3 different fire sprinkler head manufacturers that specifically had products for the cold storage industry and covered all the compressor needs requirements or various valve needs. So AGFU is available. We offer half day, full day, and multi-day training at AGFU. This concludes our webinar for AGF manufacturing. If there are any questions that anyone has, again, you can call our office at 610-240-4900, or you can use the chat feature now. Everyone's position is unmuted, so if they have any tech questions, please feel free to ask it now. Having no questions, I appreciate everyone's time and attendance in this webinar. Please come back to check our schedule for the AGFU training courses, and as well as other training availability of literature, downloads. We have drawing block files in both BIM, we have our BIM files, our DWG and DXF files on every variation of AGF products that we make. All of this is available on our website. And in addition to that, as I had said during this presentation, there is a handout with the general AGF catalog. It's a low resolution printout, so it's not a very big document to get. And that gives you all the different versions of AGF products that are available, their part numbers, and their descriptions. Again, my name is Jim McHugh, and I appreciate your attendance at this webinar. Hope everyone has a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands.